Tomo did not like noise. That was one reason he worked deep in the cargo section of the freighter Wayfarer 2. While others handled big meetings or piloted the ship, Tomo stayed behind. He checked cables, cleaned filters, and fixed small things that most people ignored. He liked quiet. He liked routine. But routine ended the day a strange signal came through the comms system. The ship had been traveling near the asteroid belt, passing close to Sector 9. That area was known to be empty. No trade routes, no colonies, no traffic. Just rocks and silence. So when the signal started a soft beeping sound every few seconds, the bridge crew became alert. "It's organic," said the comms officer, confused. "Not just data. There's a heat signature too." Captain Barron rubbed his chin. "Could be a life pod." Set a course to check it out. When the ship arrived at the source, everyone on the bridge stared at the screen. Floating among the stars was a small silver pod, shaped like a teardrop. Lights blinked slowly on its sides. It spun gently in space, as if waiting for someone to notice it. Tomo was called to help bring it aboard. He wasn't a soldier or a scientist, but he knew how to handle delicate cargo, and this pod looked very delicate. As the airlock opened, he stood beside the security officers, watching the pod float in. "It's really small," one of the officers said. "Could be a scout drone," said the other. Tomo said nothing. He just kept his eyes on the pod. It gave off a soft hum, not machine-like, more like a lullaby, though broken and weak. Once the pod was inside, the ship's AI scanned it for danger. No weapons, no harmful energy, no viruses. The captain gave the order, "Open it." Tomo stepped forward. His hands were steady as he tapped the release panel. With a soft hiss, the pod opened. Inside was not a drone, not a bomb, not even a robot. Inside was a baby, not a human one. The creature was small, with thin arms and a long tail curled around its body. Its skin was smooth, like polished stone, and shimmered with a purple glow. Its eyes were shut, but its mouth was open. It was crying. Not loud, not screaming, but a soft sound that echoed in the chamber. Everyone backed away. "Is it safe?" one crew member asked. "Could be a trick," said another. But Tomo didn't move. He stepped closer. The baby's cry was not scary. It sounded tired, afraid, alone. Tomo reached out and gently lifted it from the pod. It was surprisingly light. The baby opened its eyes. They were bright gold and full of tears. It looked at Tomo, blinked, and then slowly reached out one of its tiny hands. Tomo sat down on the floor and held the baby close to his chest. "Shh," he whispered, gently rocking back and forth. "You're not alone now." The baby blinked again. The crying stopped. Silence filled the room. Everyone stared. The ship's AI made a soft sound, heart rate stable, breathing calm, body temperature rising to normal range. The security officers lowered their arms. Tomo kept rocking the baby. He didn't care what species it was. He didn't need to know where it came from. It was just a baby, cold and lost. And now, it was warm and quiet. Captain Barron stepped into the room. He had seen everything through the cameras. "Tomo," he said, surprised. "What did you do?" "Nothing much," Tomo said softly. "I just held it." The captain looked at the baby, then at Tomo, then back at the baby. "We'll send the signal out," he said. "Maybe someone is looking for it." Tomo nodded. But no one expected the signal to travel so far, and no one expected who would answer. Over the next 2 days, the baby stayed with Tomo. It wouldn't eat from any of the food packs, but it seemed to like warm water and soft music. Tomo played old Earth lullabies from his datapad. The baby responded to the sounds, sometimes moving its fingers or blinking slowly in rhythm. Tomo gave it a name, New. He didn't know if that was close to its real name, but the baby seemed happy. When he said it, New, Tomo would whisper as he rocked it to sleep, "You're safe here." Then, on the 3rd day, the alarm rang. "A known vessel detected," said the AI. "Massive. Approaching fast." Everyone ran to the bridge. Tomo stayed behind with New. But soon, the captain called him to come quickly. "You need to see this." Captain Barron said, When Tomo entered the bridge, he saw it on the main screen. A ship larger than anything they had ever seen. Long and shining, like a river of glass and stars. It moved without sound, without smoke, without heat. It stopped just beyond the freighter's path. Then a message came. Not in human language, not in any known language, but it was clear: return. The child, Captain Barron, frowned. How did they find us so fast? The AI answered. They received a copy of the recording, the one from the airlock. It was broadcast on an open signal. Tomo felt his heart beat faster. He had no idea the ship had been recording. He had no idea the universe had been watching. But it was too late to change it now. The screen changed again. This time, it showed a tall alien figure. She had the same purple glow as new. Her eyes were gold. Her clothes were made of flowing cloth that shimmered like water. She wore a crown that floated just above her head. She was not a soldier. She was a queen. She looked straight at Tomo. And then she spoke. You held my child. You calmed her tears. You have done what no one in my court could do. For this, you will be honored, and a decision must be made. Tomo didn't understand. The baby stirred in his arms. The queen smiled gently. Prepare the human, she said. He will join us. And just like that, Tomo's quiet world changed forever. Tomo's hands felt cold. The message from the huge alien ship was clear. But nothing about this felt normal. A queen had spoken directly to him. He could not believe it. He looked down at Nu, the little alien baby resting quietly in his arms. The baby's golden eyes blinked slowly. Captain Barron stood near the main screen. The queen says we must prepare you. She wants to meet you. This is not a normal request, Tomo. Tomo nodded slowly. I don't understand. Why me? I only held the baby. Barron sighed. Apparently, that means a lot to them. Maybe more than we know. The crew whispered among themselves. Some were scared. Others were curious. The idea of meeting an alien queen was almost like a story from old books. But this was real. An announcement came through the ship's speakers. All crew, prepare for contact with the Virian royal vessel. Tomo looked back at Nu. The baby reached up and touched Tomo's cheek with a tiny hand. Tomo smiled. Somehow, he felt brave. The wayfarer to move slowly toward the alien ship. The great vessel looked like a shining river of stars. It was silent but powerful. The bridge was filled with tension. Suddenly, a docking arm reached out and connected the two ships. The airlocks aligned. Captain, said the communications officer. The Queen's guards are on their way. They want to escort the human and the child to the royal ship. Barron turned to Tomo. You will go with them. Tomo swallowed hard. What if I say no? Barron looked serious. That is not an option. They have the power to stop us, and this is bigger than us. Tomo nodded. He hugged Nu tightly. Okay, let's go. Moments later, two tall figures appeared in the airlock. They were the Queen's guards. They looked similar to Nu, with purple skin and shining gold eyes, but much bigger and stronger. Their armor reflected light like liquid metal. One guard spoke, his voice calm and deep. I am Sarah. This is Vala. We will take you to Queen Zara. Tomo stood up and followed them, carrying Nu carefully. The corridor between ships was bright but quiet. The walls changed color as they walked, from blue to green to soft violet. Tomo felt as if he was inside a living painting. Sarah and Vala did not speak much. Their eyes watched everything. Tomo felt a mix of fear and wonder. At last, they reached a large door. It opened slowly, revealing a room full of soft light. The air smelled sweet, like fresh flowers, and there she was. Queen Zara. She sat on a throne made of glowing crystal. Her purple skin shone under the light. Her eyes were calm but powerful. The crown above her head floated gently, made of thin lines of light. Her clothes flowed like water. Tomo bowed his head, unsure what to do. The queen smiled softly. Tomo, human of Earth, you have saved my daughter. For this, I am grateful. Tomo looked at her. Surprised. You know my name, she nodded. Your ship sent the signal. We saw the way you cared for Nu. You have a kind heart. Nu moved in Tomo's arms. The baby made a small noise and reached for the queen. Zara leaned forward and took the child gently. The baby stopped crying immediately. It nestled in the queen's arms, calm and safe. Tomo felt a strange warmth inside. It was the first time. He saw the queen not as a distant ruler, but as a mother. Zara looked back at Tomo. Because of what you have done, you are invited to join our people. Tomo blinked. Join? What do you mean? The queen's eyes shone bright. A bond will be formed between us. You will become my consort prime, partner and protector of our family. Tomo's heart raced. He did not understand what a consort prime was. He looked down at Nu, then back at the queen. This is a great honor, the queen said softly, but it is also a responsibility. Our people will welcome you. You will learn, and you will grow. Tomo swallowed. I'm just a mechanic. I don't know about royalty. Zara smiled. Sometimes the greatest strength comes from the simplest places. The queen stood and walked toward Tomo. She stopped close, but respectful. We will celebrate your bond with a ceremony. After that, you may choose to return to your world or stay with us. Tomo's mind was full of questions. He thought about Earth, his quiet life, his friends, and family. But what about my crew? My ship, Tomo asked. You and your crew will be safe, Zara promised. This is a new path for both our peoples. Your bravery will bring us together. The queen raised her hand, and a soft light surrounded Tomo. He felt calm and strong suddenly. The doors opened again, and many members of the queen's court entered. They looked at Tomo with interest and respect. One of them, a tall woman with silver hair, smiled and said, We have heard the story, the human who calmed our air. It is a tale we will tell for generations. Tomo felt a small smile. Maybe. He was not just a mechanic anymore. The queen led Tomo to a seat of honor. Around them, the court began to prepare for the ceremony. The air filled with soft music and glowing colors. Later, as Tomo sat quietly, Nu sleeping in the queen's arms, he thought about what had happened. A strange signal in empty space had changed everything. A crying alien baby had reached out and connected to very different worlds, and a human who only wanted peace had been chosen by a queen. Tomo was not sure what the future held, but he was ready to face it. Tomo sat quietly in the glowing chamber of the alien ship. The soft lights above changed colors slowly from blue to gold. Around him, members of Queen Zara's court moved gracefully. They wore clothes that shimmered like water and spoke in gentle voices. Tomo tried to understand their words, but focused mostly on the baby, Nu, who slept peacefully in the queen's arms. The room was filled with calm energy. Tomo still felt nervous. He was far from Earth, far from everything he knew. Yet, the queen's kindness made him feel safe. Queen Zara stood slowly and walked toward Tomo. Her golden eyes looked deeply into his. Tomo, she said in a soft voice, your kindness and courage have saved my daughter's life. This act has changed the future of our people. Tomo looked down. I did what anyone would do. I just wanted to help. The queen smiled. That is why you are different. You see with your heart, not just your mind. Tomo felt a strange warmth. It was the first time anyone had spoken to him like that. She moved closer. I offer you a place by my side, not as a servant or a guest, but as my consort prime. Tomo's eyes widened. Consort prime. What does that mean? The queen reached out her hand. It means you will be my partner. Together, we will guide our people. Together, we will protect Nu and the future of the Virion. Tomo thought about the word partner. It sounded important and serious, but I am not a leader. He said honestly, I am just a mechanic. The queen shook her head gently. Leadership is not about titles or strength. It is about care and courage. You have shown both. The queen's court began to gather closer. They watched Tomo with quiet respect. Some whispered softly, but no one spoke loudly. One elder stepped forward. She had silver hair and kind eyes. The human has passed the first test of our people. Now, we must prepare for the bond ceremony. Tomo was unsure what a bond ceremony was. The queen explained, it is a sacred event where two souls join. It is not forced, it is chosen. After the ceremony, you may decide your path. You can return to Earth or stay with us. Tomo looked at Nu sleeping in the queen's arms. The baby's small hands moved gently. The queen smiled. Nu has already chosen you. Tomo felt a mix of fear and hope. He wanted to say yes, but also wanted to understand more. Will I lose my freedom? He asked. Zara shook her head. You will gain a new family. You will learn new ways, but your spirit will remain yours. Tomo took a deep breath. He thought about his quiet life on Earth, fixing broken things, helping others in small ways. Could he become part of something bigger? Suddenly, a soft melody filled the room. It was the music Tomo had played to calm Nu. The queen had arranged for it to be played during the ceremony. Tomo smiled. I didn't know you would do that. The queen's eyes twinkled. We listened carefully. Music is a language of the soul. Tomo looked around. The court was preparing the space for the ceremony. Walls shifted colors, soft lights floated in the air, and flowers bloomed instantly from the floor. One of the court members handed Tomo a simple garment. It was light and comfortable, made of soft silk that changed color gently with his movements. Wear this for the ceremony, she said kindly. Tomo changed quickly. The garment fit perfectly. He looked at himself in a mirror. He saw not just a mechanic, but someone ready to take a new step. Later, the queen led Tomo to the center of the chamber. Nu was placed in a special cradle glowing with soft light. The chamber was silent except for the music. The queen spoke words Tomo did not understand. Then she reached out her hand. Tomo took it. The energy between them felt warm and strong. He looked at Nu, who opened her eyes and smiled at him. The queen turned to the court. This bond is a promise to care, to protect, to build a future together. Tomo felt tears in his eyes. This was more than he had ever dreamed. When the ceremony ended, the court applauded softly. Queen Zara looked at Tomo with pride. You are one of us now, she said. Tomo felt a new strength inside. He still missed Earth, but he also felt hope. Maybe this was where he belonged. The queen smiled again. Tomorrow, you will meet the council. They will help you learn our ways. Tomo nodded. I will do my best. That night, as Tomo lay in a soft bed in a room filled with light and gentle sounds, he thought about what had happened. He thought about how a small act of kindness had changed everything. He thought about the future. He was not just a mechanic anymore. He was part of something greater. And somehow, he knew he was ready. Tomo woke slowly as soft light filled the room. Outside the window, stars moved gently past the huge alien ship. The quiet hum of the vessel was like a calm song. He stretched and looked around. The room was beautiful walls that changed colors, soft fabrics on the bed, and fresh flowers glowing faintly in the corners. Nu, the little alien baby, was sleeping soundly in a nearby cradle. Tomo smiled softly. Despite being far from Earth, he felt peaceful here. Later, a gentle knock came at the door. Tomo stood and opened it to find Vala, one of the queen's guards. Good morning, Tomo, Vala said with a calm voice. The queen awaits you in the garden. Tomo nodded. He followed her down bright hallways that shimmered with soft light. As they walked, Tomo noticed more people like the queen's court. They looked curious and kind. Some whispered greetings in their strange language, and Vala translated softly. You are welcome here, she said. The court watches you with respect. Tomo felt his heart warm. He was still new to this world, but he could sense kindness. They reached a large door that opened to a space unlike anything Tomo had ever seen. The garden floated in zero gravity. Plants glowed softly in colors Tomo had never imagined. Flowers sang soft songs as he walked past them. Water flowed in streams that hung in the air. It was a place of peace and magic. Queen Zara was there, sitting on a smooth stone bench. She smiled when she saw Tomo. Welcome, she said softly. This is where I find calm when the world is busy. Tomo sat beside her, looking at the glowing plants. It is beautiful, he said. I have never seen anything like it. The queen laughed gently. The Varian live in harmony with nature. It teaches us patience and strength. Tomo looked at her and then at Nu, who was now awake and playing with a small glowing flower. The baby's golden eyes sparkle with joy. "You have a special bond with Nu," the queen said. "She trusts you. That is rare." Tomo felt shy but proud. "I only wanted to help her," Zara nodded. "Helping others is the first step to understanding." Suddenly, Val arrived with a small group of Viren. They were the queen's advisors and teachers. One of them, a gentle woman named Mira, smiled warmly. "Tomo," Mira said, "we will help you learn our ways, our language, our history, and our customs." Tomo felt nervous but curious. "I want to learn. I want to understand." The day passed with lessons and stories. Mira showed Tomo pictures of distant planets, of Viren history, and of great events. Tomo asked many questions. The more he learned, the more he saw how different and how wonderful this culture was. But it was not just the lessons. Tomo also helped in small ways. He fixed a broken light panel in the garden. He found a lost music player and showed the court how to use it. The Viren watched him with interest. Queen Zara smiled. "You bring a new light to our world." That evening, Tomo sat with the queen again. The stars outside the window twinkled softly. "Do you miss Earth?" the queen asked. Tomo thought for a moment. "Sometimes, but this place feels like a new home." Zara nodded. "Homes are not only places. They are where the heart is." Tomo smiled. "I never thought I would find a home so far from Earth." The queen reached out her hand. "You have more strength than you know." At that moment, Nu crawled over to Tomo and reached up to hold his finger. The baby giggled softly. Tomo laughed. "I think she likes me." Zara's eyes shone. "You are more than her protector. You are family." Days passed, and Tomo continued to learn and help. The court welcomed him with kindness. He felt his confidence grow. One afternoon, while walking through the glowing halls, Tomo overheard a quiet conversation. Two advisors spoke about a challenge facing the Viren. A distant rival group questioned the queen's choice to bond with a human. Tomo's heart tightened. He did not want trouble, especially not for the queen or Nu. Later, he found Zara alone in the garden. "The others doubt me," she said quietly. "They worry about this bond." Tomo took her hand gently. "They don't understand us yet, but I believe we can show them what kindness and courage mean." The queen smiled. "You speak like a true leader." Tomo shook his head. "I am just a man who cared for a baby." Zara looked deeply at him. "That is enough." Tomo felt the weight of those words. Maybe this simple act could change many things. That night, Tomo lay in bed thinking about the future. He was not just a mechanic anymore. He was part of a family, part of a story bigger than himself. He closed his eyes with a quiet hope. Tomorrow would bring new challenges. But for now, he rested in a world of stars and light. The morning light poured softly through the translucent walls of the alien ship. Tomo woke slowly, feeling the gentle warmth of the room. Nu was already awake, smiling and reaching out for him. Tomo laughed and took the baby's small hand in his. The quiet moments like this made him feel strong and ready for what lay ahead. Today, the queen had called a meeting with the council. Tomo knew this was important. The council was a group of the queen's closest advisors and leaders. They had the power to make decisions for the Viren people. As Tomo entered the large chamber, he felt the eyes of many watch him. The room was circular, with tall windows looking out into space. The council members sat in glowing chairs arranged in a ring. Their faces were serious but curious. Queen Zara sat at the center, calm and proud. She looked at Tomo and gave a small nod. One of the council members, a tall woman named Lyra, stood up. "Queen Zara, we respect your choice, but the bond with a human is new and uncertain. How can we be sure this is right for the Viren?" Tomo felt the tension in the room. He took a deep breath and stepped forward. "I'm not like you," he said honestly. "I come from a simple world, but I care for Nu and for the queen. I want to learn and help." Lyra's eyes softened slightly. "We need to see your heart in action. Trust is not given lightly." The queen spoke next. "Then, let there be a test, a trial of trust and courage. If Tomo passes, he will be accepted by the council and the people." Tomo looked at Zara. "What kind of test?" Zara smiled gently. You will journey to the Crystal Forest, a place sacred to our people. There, you will find the Heartstone. Bring it back as proof of your bond with us." The council members nodded. The trial was clear. Tomo felt a mixture of fear and excitement. The Crystal Forest was known to be beautiful, but full of challenges. Many Viren went there to prove their strength and spirit. Vala and Sero, the queen's guards, came to prepare him. They handed Tomo a small pack with supplies and a glowing map. The map showed a path through the forest, with signs and symbols only a Viren could understand. "Remember," Vala said, "the forest tests not only the body but the heart. Stay true to yourself." Tomo nodded. He looked at New One last time. Before leaving, the baby reached out and touched his cheek, as if wishing him luck. The journey to the Crystal Forest was aboard a small shuttle. Tomo watched the stars as the ship moved through space. He felt a deep calm despite his nervousness. When they arrived, the shuttle landed softly near the edge of the forest. Tomo stepped out into a world unlike any he had seen. Tall trees with crystal leaves sparkled in the light. The ground was soft, glowing with colors that changed as he walked. Strange birds sang melodies that seemed to speak in riddles. Vala and Sero stayed close. Watching carefully, Tomo took a deep breath and began walking along the glowing path. The forest was beautiful, but also mysterious. Shadows moved, and whispers floated through the air. Sometimes the path seemed to change, twisting and turning in unexpected ways. Tomo remembered Val's words. He focused on being calm and honest. He listened to the sounds and trusted his heart. After several hours, they reached a clearing. In the center stood a large stone glowing with a bright blue light. It was the Heartstone. Tomo stepped forward slowly. The stone pulsed with energy. He reached out and touched it. A warm feeling spread through his body. His fears and doubts seemed to fade. Suddenly, the forest changed. The glowing trees bent gently as if bowing. The birds' songs became a clear melody of welcome. Vala smiled. "You have passed the test, Tomo. The forest recognizes your heart." Tomo picked up the Heartstone carefully. It was light but strong. He felt proud and happy. The journey back to the ship was peaceful. Tomo thought about the trial and what it meant. He had faced his fears and trusted himself. When they returned to the royal ship, the council was waiting. Tomo held the Heartstone high for all to see. Queen Zara stepped forward and took his hand. "You have shown courage and truth. You are one of us." The council members nodded and smiled. Lyra came close and said, "Welcome, Tomo. You have earned our trust." The room filled with quiet applause. Tomo felt a new strength inside. He was no longer just a visitor or a mechanic. He was a part of this world. That evening, as Tomo sat with New and the Queen, he felt peace. Zara looked at him and said, "Tomorrow, we will begin your lessons as Consort Prime. There is much to learn and many adventures ahead." Tomo smiled. "I am ready." New giggled and reached for Tomo's hand. Tomo laughed softly. He was no longer afraid of the future. He had found trust, courage, and a new family among the stars. The next morning, the great halls of the alien ship buzzed with quiet activity. Tomo stood near a large window, watching the stars pass by. His heart was full of hope and questions. Today marked the beginning of a new journey, learning what it meant to be Consort Prime. Queen Zara entered the room with a calm smile. Her presence filled the space with quiet strength. New toddled after her, holding a small glowing flower. "Tomo," Zara said gently, "today you will meet the council teachers. They will guide you in the ways of our people, our language, history, and traditions." Tomo nodded. "I want to understand everything." Zara took his hand. "Good. Come." They walked through glowing corridors until they reached a large hall. There, several figures awaited. Each wore robes of soft light and carried symbols of wisdom. One of them, Mira, stepped forward with a warm smile. "Welcome, Tomo. We are here to help you." The lessons began simply. Mira taught Tomo to speak basic Viren words. The language was soft and flowing. Tomo practiced carefully, repeating sounds and phrases. Sometimes he stumbled, but Mira was patient. Another teacher, a tall man named Saren, explained the history of the Veering people. He showed pictures of their planets, their battles, and their celebrations. Tomo listened, fascinated by stories of courage and unity. During breaks, Tomo spent time with Nu. The baby laughed and clapped when he spoke in her small language. Tomo felt joy in these moments. One afternoon, as Tomo practiced speaking, a challenge came unexpectedly. A group of young Veering approached, curious about the human among them. They asked questions quickly, some kind, some testing. Tomo answered. Honestly, he talked about Earth, about his life as a mechanic, and about how he came to the Queen's ship. Slowly, the group's expressions changed from doubt to interest. One of them, a young woman named Leela, smiled. You are different, but your heart is true. Tomo smiled back. I'm learning. I want to be part of your world. Days passed with lessons and new experiences. Tomo learned about the customs of the Veering, their way of greeting, their ceremonies, and their respect for nature. He found that the people were gentle but strong. They cared deeply for family and for their home among the stars. One evening, Queen Zara invited Tomo to a special place on the ship, a quiet balcony overlooking the stars. She spoke softly. Tomo, being consort prime means more than learning words or customs. It means understanding hearts. Tomo looked at her. I want to be ready. Zara smiled. You are already more ready than you think. Nu crawled into Tomo's lap, reaching up to touch the stars outside. The Queen's voice grew serious. There are those who do not yet accept you. You will face challenges. Tomo nodded. I'm not afraid. Zara placed her hand on his shoulder. Together, we are stronger. In the days that followed, Tomo's confidence grew. He joined the court in meetings and helped with small decisions. He used his knowledge from Earth to solve problems that were new to the Viren. Sometimes he fixed broken machines or found new ways to organize their systems. The court began to see his value beyond being the Queen's consort. One day, Mira gave Tomo a gift, a small crystal that glowed with soft light. This is a symbol of your journey, she said. It will remind you of the bond you share with us. Tomo accepted it with gratitude. As he held the crystal, Tomo thought about how far he had come. From a simple mechanic on Earth to a trusted member of an alien royal court. He smiled and looked at Nu, who was playing nearby. The future was uncertain, but Tomo knew one thing for sure: he was ready to face it with courage, kindness, and a heart open to new worlds. The day began quietly on the alien ship. Tomo stood on the balcony, watching the vast universe stretch before him. The stars twinkled like diamonds, and the soft glow of distant planets lit the darkness. He felt calm, yet excited. Today was an important day, the day of the final ceremony to confirm his place by Queen Zara's side. Inside, the ship was alive with activity. Members of the court moved gracefully, preparing for the ceremony. The glowing halls were decorated with flowers that shone in many colors. The air was filled with a soft, peaceful music that calmed everyone's nerves. Nu, now a little older and more curious, played happily nearby. She looked up at Tomo and smiled, her golden eyes shining bright. Queen Zara approached Tomo with a gentle smile. Are you ready? She asked softly. Tomo nodded. I am. Together, they walked to the great chamber where the people of the Veering had gathered. The room was large and circular, with high ceilings that shimmered with light. The council and the court stood around, their faces full of hope and respect. Zara took Tomo's hand, and he felt the strength of her touch. The moment was both serious and full of warmth. The High Elder, a wise woman with silver hair and kind eyes, stepped forward. Today, we witness a bond that will shape the future of the Veering people. She said clearly, Tomo, you have shown courage, kindness, and truth. You have passed every test and earned your place. Tomo looked around at the faces of those who had doubted him before. Now, their eyes held respect and acceptance. He felt proud but humble. The elder continued, Tomo, do you accept this bond freely, knowing the responsibilities it carries? Tomo took a deep breath. He looked at Queen Zara and then at Nu. His heart was full. I accept, he said firmly. The queen smiled and stepped closer. and I accept you, Tomo, not just as my consort, but as my partner in all things. Together, we will lead our people with courage and care." The room filled with gentle applause. The Varian surrounded Tomo and Zara with warmth and support. Tomo felt a deep joy that he had never known before. After the ceremony, the queen led Tomo and Nu to a quiet garden. The plants glowed softly, and the air was filled with the sweet scent of flowers. Nu reached for Tomo's hand and giggled. Zara spoke quietly. "This bond is more than words or ceremony. It is a promise to protect, to learn, and to grow." Together, Tomo looked at Nu and then at the queen. "I promise." Days turned into weeks, and life aboard the ship continued with new rhythms. Tomo grew stronger in his role, learning the ways of the Varian and sharing stories of Earth. The people came to know him not just as the queen's consort, but as a friend and leader. Tomo taught them about Earth's simple joys, fixing machines, working with his hands, and caring for others in return. The Varian shared their deep respect for nature and the stars together. They faced challenges and celebrated victories. The bond between Tomo and Queen Zara grew deeper, and Nu thrived. In their care, one evening, as they stood on the balcony looking at the stars, Zara spoke softly. "You have changed our world, Tomo." Tomo smiled. "And you have changed mine." The universe felt wide and full of possibility. They knew the road ahead would not always be easy, but together they were ready to out with courage, kindness, and love. They would build a future, not just for themselves, but for all the people of the stars.